That's the Drifters. Murph tells us this date, 1960, they moved up to number one with their hit Save the Last Dance for Me. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Somebody texted in, that's fake news, Rob. It's on their website since last night, meaning the Scranton Times. It's not in the paper, which is insane. It's the Scranton Times. They don't ever report on the Scranton mayoral debate in their newspaper today. How's that fake news? That's insane. That's how bad the newspaper is. That's how horrible it is. It's disgraceful. You got to go to Rob O'Donnell's Facebook page to get a report on the debate. Quite amazing. That's our Rob O'Donnell. He did the best reporting on the mayor's debate. Wow. I mean, nothing, zero, nada. I look from cover to cover. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's in the classifieds. That's how awful our newspaper is. Please don't make excuses for this asinine disgrace. Rag. Just don't. Whew. Derek says, Mr. Cordaro, thanks for getting Mr. Barrett on the radio. Gene Barrett, great guy. Enjoyed doing computer work for him for his website for the steam plant. Yeah, he was in private industry. He was in military. He was in government. Somebody said, does Rob O'Donnell cover the homeless guy? Yeah, apparently there's a homeless guy running for office. So I ran into Joe Adcroft yesterday, and he showed me somebody had a house sign for the homeless guy that's running for mayor. I'd vote for him over Cognetti, but we have a good candidate. We've got a good candidate, Gene Barrett. I'm very happy with him. And you hear Trish Biden on the airwaves here, the Republican candidate. She's a great candidate. And somebody texted in, the mayor said she would make sure that someone who was qualified would fill her seat if she leaves it for Congress. Oh my. You can't even make this up. You can't make it up. There's so little self-awareness among these left-wing lunatics like Mayor Cognetti. Oh, don't worry. Not only will I not be spending any time running the city, but if I ever win for Congress, I'll make sure there's a qualified candidate, a qualified replacement. That insanity, if that does not disqualify her, voters of Scranton, and show all of you in Northeast Pennsylvania the insanity of the left, and the fact that they're just completely destructive. They're destructive of everything that was ever built, and they can't fix anything. Wow. Breathtaking. Thanks again to Rob O'Donnell for doing good reporting on this mayor's debate last night, because we have a newspaper that is literally lost in action. We'll take a break because my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me I'm way over. It's 10:02 and change. By the way, they've got Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, and Bulova watches. It's an incredible place. And the jewelry, beyond parallel. Just love it. Picardo Jewelers. We'll take a break. Let's hear the news from Brian Hughes, and then we'll be back. Much more to talk about. great good morning, everyone. 10:08 a.m. here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Friday, October 17, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man, John Basiliga, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, thanks to John. We lost them this year, but celebrate them nevertheless. Like James Tribbitt, Pittston, Edward Joyce, Laughlin, Victor Baidaganata, Dunmore, Lieutenant Colonel John Farrell, Carbondale, Edwin Chase, Tunkhannock, formerly of Scranton, and Charles Collarini of Oliphant. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. And you know that song, Stick Out Your Can, because my DPW collected today, and they're the best. And I mean all the DPWs. I love them. And so we're clean for another week. And they got the job done. And I'm wearing, by the way, if you're watching on live stream, I'm wearing the Dunmore DPW shirt, the fluorescent long sleeve version, given to me by my man Homer. So it's DPW Day. Yeah, Columbus Day. I normally collect Thursday. They collected today in Scranton because of the holiday. So here we are. So, there's a mayor's debate last night, and it goes badly for Mayor Page. Not only, Jean Barrett told us just earlier, she actually went on and said, we've done such an amazing job of reporting that crime has actually gone up, but I want credit for our incredible reporting of the crime statistics. This is the lunacy these people come from. You can't make that up. And then she's also saying, well, I'll make sure there's a qualified replacement. When there's two qualified replacements on the stage with her last night. And then, of course, our newspaper rag doesn't even report it. It's not in the paper. My God almighty. And by the way, they're all of the same piece. The newspaper, the mayor, Wendy Wilson, Gahan, Capolini's now in the mix. He's a left-wing lunatic, endorsed by Mayor Bill Gahan, who gave us 50% tax increases. And somebody texted in, no, he's only been in here like less than a year. No, no. That's your excuse for Gahan? He's the guy who gave us the 33% increase and wouldn't listen to Chris Chermak, and by the way, qualified accountants to try to reduce the tax increase. And then McGloin, here's a professional football player. He saw how insane Gahan was. He got out as soon as he could. Somebody pointing out, Bob, what was also amazing was our mayor using the possibility / probability that regional hospital will close. Yes, it will be a huge impact to our community, but is it a mayoral talking point? Our city infrastructure isn't on her purview. Not at all. She's preparing. And by the way, this is how insane the left is. In the Democrat bill, spending an additional $1.5 trillion The bill that they're closing the government for. The $50 billion that guys like Bresnahan put into the budget for rural hospitals, by the way, of which the Scranton and Wilkes-Barre hospitals are considered. The reason they get rural reimbursement is because our wage rates are so low here. So Mayor Cognetti is bemoaning the closing of a hospital that she's done nothing about, by the way. In her 5 years in office, this hospital's been deteriorating. We knew the company was in serious financial trouble, Commonwealth Health. She's done nothing. And she's going to try to blame Republicans instead of doing her job. And she supports a bill and the closing of the government, which is hastening the demise of the hospital. And by the way, not only that, don't forget her other blow against healthcare in Scranton. Geisinger, the old CMC up near Naog Park, wanted to expand. She begged them to expand and then voted against and went against their expansion. You can't make it up. It's frightening. Somebody said, but the newspaper did do a fabulous job of listing all the No Kings protests happening tomorrow. By the way, I heard Nancy from the morning show, somebody texted, is going to go to the No Kings protest. Well, as silly and uninformed as she is about politics, she should go. Bill Gaughan will be there. The mayor will be there. It's unbelievable. Now, here's the mayor who thinks she's a queen because she's going to pass her seat on to a qualified individual, in her view. Well, if you're unqualified, this is like Joe Biden picking Kamala Harris. If you're unqualified, how can you pick someone qualified? It's impossible. Yeah, so the No Kings protests are in the paper, but the Scranton mayoral debate, because it went badly for Mayor Many Names, is not in the paper. It's exhausting. The insanity is exhausting. It truly is. We need this sanctuary of sanity more than ever. Let's go quickly. Andrew from Jersey. How are you, Andrew?
Hey, Bob, I'm doing pretty well. Let me take a speaker. Yeah, the other debate that happened, the New York City mayoral debate.
Yes.
Mendami, he's a rich kid. Instead of saying he lived in his parents' basement till he was 30, he lived in his parents' penthouse till he was 30. But I want to say, yeah. People like you, of course, you know, but even Cuomo has said this in the past. When you raise the corporate tax or taxes in general, you're not necessarily going to gain that much revenue because people could leave, and that will happen. People will go to Pennsylvania, South Carolina, New Jersey. After 9/11, I covered for the local TV. It was a conference about rebuilding and companies that were in the Trade Center, and they said a theme was that many of the companies are going to relocate to Jersey City because it's not just the tax, they were saying, but there's too much red tape in New York City, and the cost per square foot is dramatically less.
New York City companies are leaving. There's a lot of things behind this. The executives, the people who work there, are paying the high taxes as individuals. The corporation, that they have a responsibility, by the way, to their shareholders to not waste money on New York City largesse. And most of the money in New York City is going to nonprofits and NGOs who are wasting it, just like the federal government.
And if they relocate on the water, Jersey City, you could take the ferry over and you could see the Statue of Liberty, so they could take the clients into New York City without having to pay the high rent in New York City. So he's out of touch. because he never had to work or earn anything. And also, I was kind of shocked because Cuomo was saying, well, Clinton was the best president, and I was his HUD secretary. But Cuomo was one of the culprits of the Fannie and Freddie Community
Yep.
Reinvestment Act with the
Yep.
subprime loans, which helped drop the
Oh, come on.
housing
Cuomo's a
crash.
disaster. He's a spent
I
fuel
couldn't
rod.
believe it.
It's a shame that he's the leading candidate, at least at the moment. I like Curtis Sliwa. I like him.
Me too.
He's straight.
Love him.
He's telling people what he'll do, and he'll focus on crime and quality of life. Other than that, you just have to get out of the way, and capitalism will take care of business.
Definitely. And there's, ironically, with the Muslim, he tries to promote himself, and there's an undercover surveillance, of his campaign. And they said they incorporate lesbian white women to, work for his campaign. But the irony is that wouldn't be allowed to be they could even be killed by certain Muslim sects. So the stupidity, and so I think he gave the finger to the Columbus statue. So I think there's less Italians, and you have virtue signaling where, like, not just white, but like liberal white girls will want to vote for him because he's young and handsome and rich, and it's like a fake fantasy boyfriend, and he's Muslim, so they're like, well, we're not for
a spoiled rich kid who lives in subsidized and rent-controlled housing. You can't make these people up, Andrew. Thank you, my friend. We've got to take this break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll do a little history, a little music, and then you at 570-883-0098. Manfred Mann. Murph tells us he moved into the number one spot this date, 1964, with their hit, Doo-Wah, Diddy Diddy. And, of course, 1973, the embargo that lasts through March of 1974. And remember, I remember it vaguely, young kid, the gas lines. We favored, obviously, and should have favored Israel in that conflict in the Middle East. And the Israelis kicked butt, took territory, and finally the Arabs said, well, all right, enough of this. Eric in Exeter texts in. He goes, good morning, Bob. Want to preface that Brian Hughes seems like a decent guy, but his comments today after talking about Bolton's indictment are laughable. He said there is concern Trump and the DOJ are going after his adversaries. And by the way, I heard and said, and not people who support him, basically protecting people who support him. I don't know who these concerns are by. Well, I do. And Eric continues, where were these comments from Brian when Trump was getting indicted on now admittedly, even from Democrats on CNN, ridiculous charges? Stick to the news and facts, Brian, not your opinion. Thank you. Consider the message sent. Left wing is left wing. You can't, there's nothing you can do about it. But to point it out. See, we know better. We know not to listen to the news. I tell you the sad fact, when I started the program, now in prison, they almost exclusively watched CNN, and it was maddening. And by the way, most prisoners are left-wing. They expect something for nothing. They don't expect to work. They don't want to earn anything. They want everything handed to them, or they want to rob it. And once they rob it, they want to be considered oppressed so that these are my fellow prisoners. They want to be considered oppressed so they get leniency for committing crimes. Okay, understood. So they loved CNN. And so when I started doing this program, I tried to watch all the cable shows, CNN, MSNBC, the national networks, even PBS. But when you missed Fox or didn't watch it, you didn't get all the stories. I mean, they didn't even cover the story like the border. Hunter Biden's and Joe Biden's corruption and wrongdoing. These stories were not even touched. So the main stories affecting the country, they didn't even bother with it. And they fact-checked Trump. They didn't fact-check Biden or the Democrats. So I just don't understand. So I was forced more and more, and I'm at the point now I have to watch Fox, and during the commercials, I go to the cable and see what because you can't, I only can see their interpretation of what they cover. The problem is they don't even cover half the stories, the left stream media. So I don't know. It's sad. It's just like, I really want the Democrat Party to come back and be normal again. But see, now you've got Cognetti as mayor of Scranton. You've got Gaughan, Lackawanna County Commissioner, and they're left-wing lunatics. You're not going to see George Brown, who's a Democrat, running off to a No Kings rally. You're not going to see that from Gene Barrett. These are normal Democrats. They're not insane. But at this point, even here, they're under threat. by the left-wing lunatics who do control the parties. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Because when it affects us locally, then the rest of the diseases will come. We need local Democrats, a lot of them, to hold the line, or this area will suffer everything that places like Philly, St. Louis, Chicago, L.A., San Francisco are suffering, New York. All right, let's go to Luciano. We missed him yesterday. Hey, Luciano, we got about a minute, my man.
I'll tell you what I told the call screener. I hope I say the exact words. I probably won't. Well, the media is consciously saying that ICE is going into people of color, black neighborhoods. Well, it was by design that the Biden administration let in all the third world people. Most of them are 85% Numbers USA and other Spanish TV programs. Numbers have said, and it's documented, Latinos, mostly from Mexico, Central America, and South America. Not Argentina, they were the exception, but Peru, Venezuela, and Haiti, and Africa. So what do you expect in some Muslim countries? What do you expect? They are people of color, and it's by design that they were put in heavily concentrated black neighborhoods in my birthplace, Philadelphia, and Chicago, and L.A.,
well, the
and
design,
Memphis.
Luciano, the design was maybe we could sneak them in as voters, but the key was to have them in place for the census, because those areas are so poorly governed. All the Democrat left-wing lunatic areas are so poorly governed that people are leaving in droves. They need replacements for the census, so they still get federal and state funds because of based on population, and they still get representation in the state houses and in the U.S. House. That's what it's for.
And can you name me, please? I'll show you a chicken with teeth if you can name this. Can you name me 5 so-called moderates that represent United States citizens in this country? Featherman's 20%. That's not moderate. Moderate is considered 50%. Can you name me 5, please? Because I hear these talking heads on your station and outside the surrounding area of Luzerne County saying, "Oh, we got moderate Democrats." Well,
I am not aware of.
Can you name me 5 of them?
Luciano, I am not aware of.
Neither am I.
A moderate that we have in state representative, state Senate, U.S. Congress or U.S. Senate that's a Democrat. I'm not aware of a moderate. I literally am not. There are none, because once they get to Harrisburg, once they get to Washington, they caucus with the Democrats, and the Democrat Party's lunatic left, and they vote with them out of pressure. They won't get committee seats. They won't get favoritism. They won't get treated nicely by their fellow Democrats, and they all go lunatic left, regardless of their personal philosophy. It's a sad thing at this moment.
But it's absolutely true what you just stated. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, man. All right, we've got to take this break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back with our Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then you at 570-883-0098. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And we'll feature just one of his great companies today, Basiliga Hospitality. Reader's Choice Award winners in just about every category and at every single property. Bar restaurants like the Old Brook Inn, the Far Street Tavern, the Queen City Tavern Oliphant. Tonight at a Terra 519, have dinner, step downstairs to Sergei's, and they've got one of the Real Housewives there. They're going to have a blast. By the way, a chili contest Saturday at the Marketplace of Steamtown. I might be one of the judges. More fine dining in a classic setting, the Stegmeyer Mansion. And if you want to see a movie over the weekend, Scranton Art House. Your favorite food, your favorite adult beverages while you watch your movie. Victor Baideganata, Dunmore. He was 85 when he passed away October 5th. 1958 graduate of Dunmore High School. He served with the U.S. Army and the Pennsylvania National Guard as an infantry radio mechanic. He was skilled. He had expertise and commitment to duty and honor. After his military service, his career as a skilled electrician spanned over 60 years with the great Local 81 of the IBEW. His friends used to say, Vic probably wired every house or business from here to the Poconos. He was a local fix-it man that can fix anything with duct tape, a ruler, a screwdriver, and his signature red pencil. He was also a professional locksmith, certified in refrigeration, HVAC. He worked for Hoffman Electrical, then Spotless Cleaners, where he was Larry and Bill Nicholas's right-hand man for over 40 years. Preceded in death by sisters and his brother, his adopted daughter and caregiver, Tracy Sabia, and husband Joseph and Archibald, along with their two girls, took great care of him. So many friends and family. Victor Baideganata. Lieutenant Colonel John Farrell. He was 83 when we lost him August 9th. He was suffering with Alzheimer's. His devoted wife of 45 years, Ann Knowlton Farrell, she was with him at the time of his passing. Born in Scranton, raised working in the family theater business in Carbondale, PA. He had many tales of the stars that visited the Irving Theater and the antics which took place at the Mid-Valley Drive-In Theater. He attended St. Rose High School, where he was known as Skinny. Played basketball with his friends Squirrel and Squeaky. He went to LaSalle College in Philadelphia, got a BS in accounting and a master's in political science from Villanova University. He worked as an accountant in Philadelphia until, with the assistance of Carbondale's wily postmistress, he volunteered to join the United States Marine Corps during the Vietnam War. He was a dedicated United States Marine Corps officer from 65 to his retirement in 1987. Highlights of his military career included his tour of duty as naval supply officer in Vietnam, guarding the U.S. Capitol in 1968, and serving as commanding officer at the 1st Recruit Training Battalion at Parris Island, South Carolina. Following the military, he renewed his CPA license and worked in Virginia as Chief Financial Officer at Gas Appliance Manufacturers Association, Sisters of Mercy, and the Marine Corps Association. He coached with Coach Raleigh Massimino and the Villanova men's basketball team. His good humor and devotion to his family were unparalleled. He's survived by his wife, Ann, his children, his grandchildren, and many other faithful family members. Lieutenant Colonel John Farrell, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly to mostly sunny. It'll be about 60. 47 outside the studio at the moment. Tonight, partly cloudy, down to 40. Saturday, partly cloudy, 67. Sunday, partly cloudy with chance of evening showers, high near 70. The good thing about the cold weather at night is that Chauncey doesn't want to go out in the middle of the night, so I don't have to go out. It's a bit of it's a good thing. Well, it is Friday. We didn't hear from the weekend warrior, but we got something else coming up. Yes, the Pie Man, Peter Delaporte, he cometh. Hi, Pie Man. I'll tell you what, our guy Fetterman has given us more joy with this for the Pie Man cometh. Anyway,
yeah, he's a team player.
Well, listen, let's not change the subject now. We have a lot of listeners, including led by the Navy guy, who said, "What does the Pie Man have to say about that disaster last Thursday night?"
Well, welcome to week 7 of the NFL. But let's go. It may be, maybe the worst. It was a rough week, Bob, to be an Eagles and a Phillies fan. Maybe the worst ever. Our Phillies lost to the Dodgers in the National League Division Series.
Mm-hmm.
And their top guys, batted 14 for 70, 197 batting average. And it shows, winning is all about getting hot at the right time. But on the other hand, the Phillies lost the number one pitcher in baseball, Zach Wheeler, a month before the playoffs. So they have 11 free agents and a lot of changes before next season. So let's get to the subject at hand.
Can the Eagles bounce back? Are they as bad as they have been?
They have troubles. They have issues, which we talked about. The offense, it mainly centers around the offensive line, Bob, is just a shell of what it was last year. All of them have injuries. Cam Jurgens has a bad back. Landon Dickinson has a bad knee. Lane Johnson has had those, what do you call it, when you get spiked in the head, neck injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And teams are smart now about playing the Eagles. Saquon Barkley had 2,200 yards last year, so teams are playing for that. They're stacking 8 in the box to stop the run. Hurts seems confused at times. I mean, he does the pre-snap read on the defense really well, but once the play starts, he seems to be sometimes in a little bit of a daze. And he missed 2 plays, open receivers for touchdowns last week. That was huge. The Eagles' defense seems the big weakness is the quick pass. When they get back, and pass, quickly, that seems to be a real weakness for them. That Jason Dart and Cameron Scatterbo, I mean, they're good, and they carved up the Eagles' defense.
Fascinating.
So
all right, well,
week,
let's look ahead. Let's get to this week quickly.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
We're playing the Vikings. The 4-2 Eagles are playing the 3-2 Vikings. 1 o'clock on Sunday. Bob, Minnesota is a really good team. They have really 2 dangerous receivers, and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. The only issue is the quarterback's out, so we may see Prince Harry in there. Carson Wentz.
I used to call it. I coined that name. This is why Pi loves to bust me about it. He does. He looks like Prince Harry. Yeah, he looks like Prince Harry.
And they have a running back. Jordan Mason is averaging just under 5 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be a chess match.
The game home or away?
It's away. It's the Vikings.
All right.
Oh, the other issue that the Eagles seem to have is their offensive. We talked about this, Bob, many times. Their offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, is way too predictable. The teams seem to know the plays. They line up for every play.
Mm-hmm.
Predictions, I think it's going to be a chess match between the Vikings offensive coordinator, Wes Phillips, versus your golf partner, Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm. Who wins it? Who prevails?
Okay, the over-under is 44, and the Eagles, the line is 2.5 points. The Eagles need to get back on track, and so my prediction is this is a critical game for them because they have next week is the Giants, and then they have the Packers and the Lions. So they need to get back on track. My prediction, Bob, is 24-21.
Eagles?
Eagles, absolutely.
They're giving 2.5 points?
Yeah,
All
they're giving 2.5.
All right, so at least the money people, the people betting, think that it was last Thursday was an aberration, not a culmination, right?
Right. Yeah, right. I think they know they got to get back on track because they have a tough schedule coming up, Bob. Really tough. You know, revenge game again against the Giants and the Packers and Lions. By
the way, you took some heat from our listeners because you overlooked what's his name, Skatibu. Who's that great running back for the Giants? Scatabo. You overlooked him. But you cited some other running back who was actually not even was hurt or something, and somebody gave you hell for it.
Yeah, that was their number one. Scatabo's a rookie, and he's playing great.
Yeah. All right. Well, don't overlook him now for the next. Don't overlook for the next game or the next Giants contest because people are listening, very intently.
You have a huge listening audience.
Oh, all right. Well, Pie Man, we appreciate it. We love it. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for being on your show. It's great.
24-21 Eagles. That's the Pie Man prediction. So the Pie Man cometh, the Pie Man speaketh, and now the Pie Man goeth. Thank you,
friend. Have a great day, and fly, Eagles, fly.
Thank you, my friend.
All right.
Well, we'll see. I'm a semi-Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles fan. I lived in Philadelphia for years, but also I'm an Eagles fan because I love the Eagles fans. I truly do. Time for Bloomberg Money Minute, but just to warn you, it's not going to start until my Picardo watch says 10:50. Sugarloaf. Murph says they moved from number 8 to number 3. This date, 1970, with their hit Green Eyed Lady. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. And a couple of texts just to get to. Somebody said yesterday, Nancy said she doesn't watch, meaning our Nancy, doesn't watch Fox or MSNBC because they're too one-sided. She said she watches CNN for balance. I almost crashed the car because I was laughing so hard. That is funny. She may have been joking. You just never know. Somebody texted in. She said, it sounds like you love Paige. You can't say her name enough. Okay. I love her performance, too. I love how she's ruining the city that I live in. I love it. Our guy Tom from Dallas, he's calling the Democrats a cult, and I'm going to tell you, a cult is formed when there's irrational support. Now, you can love Trump or hate him. And remember, they always call you what they are. So they call us cult members because we get a kick out of Trump or love him or love his policies despite not loving him. See, that's the exact opposite of a cult. Now, there's people devoted to Trump. He can do anything. I get that. I'm just talking about in the main. The people who are supporting Trump's policies support his policies. They're grateful, as I am, to Trump to bringing them out. And I got to tell you, I really hope and pray that he takes a hatchet to the federal government and its bureaucracy like now. What are you waiting for? If you've got additional authority during the shutdown, the Schumer shutdown, the Democrat shutdown, do it. Let's get it done. Doge pointed out the problem without saving us very much money. Let's get to work and use this Democrat-created crisis to destroy the bureaucracy. Please. But you're right, Tom, they're a cult. The problem with the Democrat Party, they don't research or read anything. They just hire a bunch of advisors that have their own agenda and pass it on to the person in charge. This is why they always vote on the same issues. Perfect example, men and women's sports, bike lanes, all of America. Yep. Vote on something before reading it, like Nancy Pelosi said about the health care bill, Obamacare. That now it has the government closed. And remember this, the problem with health care costs and coverage before Obamacare was government involvement. They were the biggest purchaser of medical services. And they would dictate a price that had nothing to do with the marketplace. It's like taking a balloon and squeezing one part of it. Well, the rest of it's going to expand until it blows up. What was the Democrat solution to the government being the problem in health care costs? More government. We got it, and it's worse. Amazing. Somebody keeps haranguing me about the homeless guy running for mayor of Scranton. Listen, God bless him. That's all I'm going to say. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Time for the news with Brian Hughes. Let's hope he calls it straight this hour. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Picardo Watch says 11:02. Great good morning, everyone. 11:08 a.m. in the great Northeast. That's what it tells me on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Friday, October 17, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. It's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great hospitality group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year but celebrate today, like Edwin Chase, Tunkhannock, formerly of Clark Summit, Charles Collarini, Oliphant, Lieutenant Colonel John Farrell. Well, he was from Carbondale. Victor Bida Ganetta, Dunmore, James Tribbett, Pittston, and Edward Joyce, Laughlin. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Oh, I got a wire in the way. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. So much going on locally and nationally. The Democrats have gone insane. New York Post headline, by the way, I'm seeing it on my monitor. It shows a picture of Bolton. It says, "You've got jail." And I mean, it appears that he broke the law. The things they've charged him with, and I've watched various analyses, is he had classified documents, and for some reason, he chose to share it with friends and retain them after he left office. Now, he was a Trump hater. I don't know if he thought, well, I'm going to use these against Trump at some point or whatever he thought. So, I mean, if people say, well, it's a political prosecution. Wait a minute. If the guy actually has the documents, he's not president of the United States. That's like Biden. He wasn't president when he stole those documents. There is a difference, legally and otherwise. But this guy had them. They appear to have been hacked by Iran. So anyway, John Bolton in hot water. And I liked him until he went goofy. See, you've got to remember, even the conservative Republicans inside the Beltway, they bow to the establishment and the established way of doing things. And anything else to them is crazy. So you've got to have policy papers, and you've got to go through rung after rung, depending on the subject, either the defense establishment, the intelligence establishment, the foreign policy establishment. You've got to go through them. Remember, because if you don't, their very existence is useless. And so Trump has broken that paradigm where the bureaucracy governs the flow of information and the decision-making process. And they've gone wild. And Bolton was one of them. So even a conservative, he's a warmonger. I'm not in favor of his later career. But when someone like Trump comes and disrupts the status quo, their status quo, that gives them meaning, that gives them importance, that gives them significance, they go out of their minds. Bolton was one of them. And now he's paying the price. And what he thought he was going to do with those documents, I have no idea. Somebody pointing out Trump stole documents too. He didn't steal them. He was president of the United States. He had valid reason to have them. And by the way, everyone wants to forget, his lawyers were negotiating whether he would return them or not when Mar-a-Lago was raided. Totally political. Somebody says, Bob, I do not mind bike lanes. However, it has to make sense. City planning, I'm not a civil engineer, but if I was, this would be an afterthought. Or if we could do this, we could do that anyway, says Tom from Clark Summit. You're right. The $30 million for bike lanes and stop signs. This is our ridiculous mayor. And it has nothing to do with the city or benefiting the city. It has nothing to do with safety. It has nothing to do with walkability. That's all lies. That's all buzzwords. $30 million for this insanity. It isn't for May. It's not even for to help Scranton. It's to help her pretend she's a progressive to get money for her congressional race. She's so far beyond this mayor thing. It's barely a distraction. Our city, where we live and are suffering under her yoke, is barely a distraction. Somebody says, just like you said, Bob, whatever they're screaming and hollering about Trump doing, they're doing the exact same thing. How many more Democrats are going to be called classified information they shouldn't have? Plenty, Tom. Tom from Dallas. Butch from Mountain Top says, I texted in a few times about my daughter being in the Air Force basic training right now. I saw yesterday about Trump pushing to still pay the troops during the shutdown. I was so elated. Yeah, there was a Senate bill. And they're going to try this. Like, okay, Democrats, let's reopen the Department of Agriculture. Let's open the Defense Department on a continuing resolution. Let's open Health and Human Services. And the Democrats so far, they've voted down reopening the Defense Department. Insane. Butch continues, if they're suffering, they want to make sure everyone else is suffering as well. Take down Trump's agenda no matter the cost. ALTS, he says. Butch, you're 1,000% right, and it's a great point. Joe from Trips Park says $30 million in Scranton for walkability. What about all the other unfinished projects and failing infrastructure? It's insane. Somebody loves the homeless guy running for mayor. No, this is crazy stuff, guys. It's scary stuff, and it's on every level. Don't think that the left-wing lunatics like Paige Cognetti are by themselves. Wendy Wilson. The rest of they're insane people. They're not stable people. Donald from Pittston, how are you?
Oh, how you doing, Bob?
Great.
About this budget, I wanted to talk to you yesterday about. We couldn't get through. They could. This is all manufactured. What they could do, keep the government open. They could piecemeal legislation like 300 to 500 billion. They're looking for 1.5 trillion, and then we could get this thing done. They don't want it. Then we negotiate the exchanges.
Correct.
The problem is they don't want to do it.
But here's the issue, though, Donald. The underlying it all is that Obamacare has failed.
Exactly.
They need to continue subsidizing it desperately, or people will start to see that it has failed.
They're throwing money at it.
That's what it
doing.
is. That's right. That's right.
And we have to renegotiate it. Now, if they think that this isn't what they're doing is the worst thing by closing this government. Now he got executive authority to do what he wants and cut what he wants, their pet projects and programs. So that's the Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. Don't they realize that? I'm a political historian. That was Reagan's dream 45 years ago. It'll be 1981, February 16th, Newswatch magazine. They came out, the budget director, David Stockman, cut, slash, and chop.
Yep.
And that's, and unfortunately, they're setting it up for him to do what he wants to do because He's going to go after. They want to play hardball with this guy, late night hardball. You're playing with the wrong dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I
He's
know
a strong leader. This guy doesn't play. You know that. And
well, I'm waiting, though. I got to tell you, I'm a little frustrated. Like, okay, the government shut down. We're going on 2 weeks now. Let's start slashing and burning the federal bureaucracy. It has to be done. Doge only proved to us what a disgrace it was and how many trillions they are wasting. Now I want it ended. Close it all
but
down.
they should have ostracized John Fetterman for telling the truth. My God, he said, this is crazy.
I know.
He started talking like a Republican. You negotiate. You don't shut down the government like a bunch of schoolyard bullies or like a candy schoolyard fight,
Well,
whether you're a Democrat or Republican.
Now,
Leave it open. Why should you I didn't go here to let the people suffer. I give the guy credit for,
Donald,
you do your job. You just don't shut it down.
I want you to, I'm going to repeat this little ditty because they're having no kings protests against Donald Trump acting like a king when he can't even open the government up because of Democrats' refusal to do so. So they're protesting themselves. What a bunch of idiots will be out there tomorrow. Wait and see. It's crazy.
Well, the reason I like Fetterman is I want Fetterman to bring him back to the center. He's trying. I can see that. Just what we have the government, even though he votes left. I think Fetterman was going to happen. He's going to be primaried, and he's going to come back like Joe Lieberman as an independent. And that'll still weaken him.
Well,
because then will maybe have a voice of reason in there, like Lieberman
I
did
like that he's not afraid to say what is true. I would never vote for him. I would never support him, but I like him. I mean,
he shouldn't be punished for telling the truth, though. They're punishing him for telling the truth.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
Donald,
crazy.
we got to go, my man. Thank you.
Thanks.
We got to take this break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. A little history, a little music, and then you at 570-883-0098 to call or to text. Loggins and Messina. Murph says they released their hit, Your Mama Don't Dance, this date, 1972. And, of course, our great, amazing Mother Teresa awarded the Nobel Peace Prize this date in 1979 and reminded me that our Mary Regina sent in St. Teresa for today, October 17th. St. Teresa says, when we realize that we are all sinners needing forgiveness, it will be easier for us to forgive others. We have to be forgiven in order to be able to forgive. If I do not understand this, it will be very hard for me to say, I forgive you to anyone. And she needed no forgiveness, but taught us about it nevertheless. How great. St. Teresa, Mother Teresa, for today. Oh, amazing. Mother Teresa. Mary Regina adds, I love Mother Teresa's voice, which you heard on that little history moment. Great stuff. Great stuff. Let's go to Fred from West Pittston. Money they discovered, Doge. How are you, my friend?
Good, Bob. You remember when Casey in 18 won the seat and then two senators from Georgia won their seat?
Yes.
You remember they just can come up with this money, $100 million for Bob Casey. All this money. Do you think, you've been in Washington, do you think all this time they've been stealing money from the American people, tax dollars money, for re-election for people, congressmen, and they had this money put away, and
well,
this is the only way the Democrat Party could survive and get reelected from stealing money from the American people. Do you know where I'm going at?
I want to be accurate on what they were doing, and you're using the right words for what they were doing, but it's not accurate at the same time. You know what I'm saying by that, Fred.
Thank you.
And this is what Doge uncovered, and it's happening in Harrisburg. It's happening with the mayor of Scranton.
Right.
They give contracts to groups, consultants, and law firms, and nonprofits, and non-governmental organizations to develop programs. The vast majority of that money goes to the people who run these nonprofits, who then give money back to the Democrat candidates and the establishment candidates who have given them the money. It's a circle jerk. And Doge exposed this. They didn't save a lot of money, but they exposed the entire scam as it is.
Right. And the American people know this, and this is why we won in 24, and this is why Bob Casey lost in 24.
People got it.
And it was a constant turnover for their elections, Bob, no matter who it was. And we were fighting for every penny. You remember back in the 70s and 80s, election cost $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For a local around here, whatever it may be. I don't know.
But all the special interests, all the nonprofits, all the NGOs, you look at the USAID as maybe the worst example, but look at the Energy Department. $93 billion went out the door to their friends after Kamala was defeated. Unbelievable.
There's hundreds of ways they were doing this, all different, people, and they were stealing off us, everybody, America, Bob.
Yep. A third.
It's really hard to believe.
At least a third of the federal budget is spent in that fashion. Yep.
They got caught, Bob, and they won't open up the government, and they're just at their lowest point, and they don't care who they screw.
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
Because they're done. Everybody found out what they're all about. Bobby, thanks.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. Fred from West Pittston nailed it. And it's what we've been saying. So when I say Doge didn't cut a lot of money, well, in the scheme of things, they didn't. Maybe $100 billion, whatever. But what they uncovered was the breadth and depth of the scam being perpetrated on the American people. which is that they would give this money from every department to various NGOs, various nonprofits, various law firms, various consulting firms. And they would take, if it was a $10 billion, and by the way, nobody, no less a supporter of this scam than the New York Times reported on it. They looked at one area of the USAID budget and the billions they were spending, in the name of LGBTQ in Peru and all the nonsense we've been spelling out to you. The money wasn't even getting there. It was staying with the nonprofit and their six-figure salaries. And those six-figure salaries were then contributing back to establishment candidates who were voting for this insanity. Remember Sheldon Whitehouse, that sickening disgrace? He literally voted for and pushed something about collecting garbage on the ocean front. His wife received $2.5 million of the $10 million that was distributed. This is how it works. This is what they're doing to you. And they pay back the teachers' unions. They pay back the government unions. They pay back their supporters. And they also create their new supporters with your money. What do you think Paige Cognetti is giving all these consulting contracts out for? They're going to support her when she runs for Congress. Somebody defensively says you keep blaming Democrats, but Republicans have control of all branches. No, I'm saying Democrats and establishment candidates. Please don't tell me you think it's equal. Please don't tell me then you're completely off base, and then we can't even have a discussion. How many Republicans want Sesame Street in Iraq? Please tell me who. How many Republicans want LGBTQ training in Peru, in Vietnam, in Ukraine? So let's not, please. And they don't have control of all branches. They've got a couple of votes advantage in the House, and they don't have enough in the Senate. They've only got 53. So the bureaucracy, the establishment is fighting us. And that includes you who are defending the Democrats who are pushing this. Don't you realize what they're doing to you? What they're wasting your money on? Your taxpayer money and the future of your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews? Don't you realize what they're doing to you? This disgraceful national debt. And then they propose $1.5 trillion more spending. A government's already $2 trillion in debt, in deficit in 1 year. The Democrat leadership's insane, and the rest of the Democrats are following along. It's sad, it's sickening, it's disgraceful, and Trump better take an axe to the federal government while he has a chance. Do you care about the $93 billion that went out the door through the Department of Energy after Biden lost the election? Or Biden too. Kamala. It went out the door. Insane. All right, we got to take a break because we've got to hear from our great sponsors. We got a Veterans Tribute. We got the weather. And then we've got you on the other side at 570-883-0098. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great family of companies, Basiliga Hospitality. Well, there's more coming. The Mary Stegmeyer Mansion, South Franklin Street, downtown Wilkes-Barre. They're going to have a holiday mischief nights at the mansion. Friday, October 24th and October 25th. That's Saturday, 7 to 10. They're going to have a brunch that they're starting. And guess what? The Frederick Stegmeyer Mansion is going to open as a guest house. That's in November. These places are fabulous. I can't brag enough about them. Tonight at Sergei's, have dinner at Terra 519, and then go downstairs for the Real Housewife coming into town. Amazing stuff. Charles Collarini. He was only 64 when we lost him, October 6th. He was from Oliphant, born in Blakely, graduate of the Mid-Valley High School. He served us in the U.S. Army as a communications officer. He was known for being a staple on the Fern Hill of Oliphant. He loved the Pittsburgh Steelers, playing shuffleboard, Luigi's Pizza, Sheryl Crow, spending time with the Bauer boys, and anything that involved his brothers in the great Collarini family. He was a pillar at the Italian-American Club in Oliphant. The family wants to thank everybody that was part of Charles's journey. Car rides, breakfast trips, front porch waves, the simple, great things. He's survived by those brothers who we love very much. Preceded in death by brother David only. Charles Collarini. Edwin Chase. If you went to Scranton Central or if you played football in his era, you knew him as Coach Chase. He passed away at age 95, September 25th. He was from Tunkhannock, formerly of Clark Summit. Sadly preceded in death by his wife, the former Jocelyn Rita Stradnicki. Coach Chase, born in South Scranton, a graduate of Scranton Central High School and Bloomsburg University. He retired as a teacher and football coach in the Scranton School District. He was proud of his large family. He loved football, especially high school and college. He's survived by his 4 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and more. At age 18, Edwin Chase, the coach, proudly served in the United States Marine Corps, earning the rank of sergeant. He has the honor of being buried in Indiantown Gap National Cemetery. Coach Edwin Chase. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga, Basiliga Hospitality, and the Stegmeyer Mansions. Storm Tracker, a 16 forecast for meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly to mostly sunny, 60 degrees, just 50 degrees outside the studio at the moment. Tonight, partly cloudy down to 40. Saturday, partly cloudy, warming up, 67 degrees. Sunday, partly cloudy with a chance of evening showers, high near 70. We are back. By the way, if you noticed, I'm not running clips. Out in Denver, I get out of the car, and unknown to me, I must have had my phone on my lap, and it falls on the ground. We later locate where it was with the Find My app, and it had been run over either by our car and maybe even the car that I went searching for it, and it's completely crushed. So I don't have the phone to send the Bulldog messages and clips that I like to play. So we're without them for the moment. I miss them. I hope you do too. But I'm hoping I get a phone today, and I don't know, whenever, program it. I don't understand all that stuff, but we'll get through it. Let's go to Lorene Cummings on Obamacare. How are you, Lorene?
Good. How you doing, Bob?
Great.
Well, the Obamacare bill, you're right, it absolutely is a disaster, and it's costing all of us taxpayers a fortune. It kicked me off of my plan that cost me $250 a month with an 80/20 plan, and now I'm paying $1,200 a month with a $7,500 deductible. I mean, are you out of your mind with this? This is ridiculous. Who can afford that? My son wasn't even going to the doctor because it cost too much money for him, and they pay nothing. And the insurance companies are getting blamed for something that isn't even their fault because they have to go by the law, which is Obamacare, which means they have to cover maternity for people like me that are 60 years old and can't have kids anymore. I mean, how outrageous is that?
And don't forget, since they believe that men can have children, they probably have coverage on them.
They do. Everybody has maternity on their insurance because that's the law.
Yeah.
The insurance companies have to follow Obamacare law. It isn't Obamacare. It's an actual law. People think Obamacare is some kind of insurance. No, the marketplace is your insurance, and you have to go by. There's only 3 plans that you could pick, and once they price you out of that, you got to go on the marketplace. And the government pays for 3/4 depending on your income. It's outrageous.
Somehow,
it's outrageous.
Lorene, the Democrats, the left, the establishment, the people who want single payer have gotten away with the fact that they have screwed up, the government screwed up health care and health insurance, and when they added Obamacare, they screwed it up even more. And that's why the costs are so out of control, because there's no competing entity to say, no, that's too much.
Exactly. That's what people are saying. We need competition. Well, you can't compete with the government. The law doesn't allow it. They only allow you to go by what they have put in their bill that the insurance companies can follow. So the insurance companies can't compete because they have to all have the same type of insurance. And that's where they get the American people, because everybody doesn't get it, you know?
And Lorene, not unintentionally, the insurance companies are regulated by the government they'd be fighting. They can't do it.
and you know, they kicked it. I lost my private insurance because there was no way I was going to pay $1,600 a month for my private insurance. I couldn't afford that. So then I had to go on the marketplace. And then the marketplace is $1,200 a month, and then they pay a subsidy of $800, and now they're going to get rid of that subsidy. So
the temporary subsidy, I might add.
Yeah, well, that's going to go up to back up to $1,200 a month for me, and of course I'm not going to pay that. I'm going to cancel the insurance. Thank God that Trump got rid of the penalty for not purchasing it, which would have been 10% of your salary every year. This is nuts. They need to get rid of it. I want my $250 a month plan with my 80/20 deductible on
Lorene,
it. That's what I want back.
What do they do all the time? When the government is involved in something and failing, they ask for more government.
Well, look at the county,
30%
tax increase. Come on, people. Get Chip Murley in there for crying out loud.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my darling. Always a pleasure. We've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will be back. This is Guns N' Roses, Murph says. He said, this date, 1992, they were moving up the charts with their hit, November Rain. Now, while we listen to this, we're going to end up with Free, because back in this date, 1970, they moved up to number 4 with their hit, All Right Now. And I say, because I'm back, I'm all right now. Rich McHale checking in, my man. Funny, I always say one of the greatest things about being from this area is you know people for 60 years. Right, Rich? It's when I lived in L.A., it was so absurd to them when I would tell them this stuff. I think it was, 25 or whatever. And you'd say, well, I know this guy for 20 years. That was beyond their comprehension, and they'd be in their 50s. So we finished with Free. And quickly, let's get to Jim from Harding, because I got some other things to do, because it's Friday. Hi, Jim.
This will be quick. This is like all about Penn State. I'm going to go down. I'm a hardcore Penn State fan. I'm going to go down to Center City Print and have them make a T-shirt that reads, President Trump help make Penn State football great again.
Make Trump the coach. He'd be looking for a job in a couple of years.
He's doing everything else right.
I'm with you. Well, Jim, quickly. I was on the morning show just because I have to, we do our transition, so I was talking to them on air. I don't have a solution. I just don't see why you fire a guy in the middle of the season without a solution in sight.
Yeah. And he lost those 3 games by just a couple of points.
I don't think he's a great coach, but in his defense, and the stats prove it, Joe Paterno, who was my idol, and I was friendly with him, he lost a lot of big games early in his career, too.
Oh, yeah, but like I say, it's stupid. Look at double overtime, then 1 point and all. They're jumping the gun.
I know, and if they waited till January, they would have saved about $15 million. Crazy.
Yeah. And can I make another comment?
Quickly, yes.
I was down there Tuesday, and I met the Congressman Muser, and I was joking with him. I said, you'll never become my favorite congressman. Dan Flood got that spot, even though he had his hands in a cookie jar.
Thank you, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Hey, you have a good day.
You too, man. Great weekend. Jim from Harding. Hey, Nikki DeSando sends in this policeman's prayer, and I got to do it because they're going to be out there creating a thin blue line to protect all of us this weekend. Lord, bless the ones who wear the badge, the ones who walk the beat, protect and keep them safe while they are on the street. As they wait and as they watch, doing good for all, guide their minds and give them strength for each and every call. Ready to put their lives on the line, give them courage each day. Let them know you're always there in each and every way. So bless the ones who wear the badge, protect them from harm, always keep them safe, and in your loving arms. The policeman's prayer. And tomorrow never comes. Again, we come to another weekend. You might have a little more time. Some of you might not. Reach out to someone, not just somebody you love, somebody you like, somebody you remember. And it's Tomorrow Never Comes by Norma Cornett Merrick. Found it in the great bit for a lovely woman by the name of Doreen Goryeb. She said, if I knew it would be the last time that I'd see you walk out the door, I would give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time, I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say I love you instead of assuming you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you, and I hope we will never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike, and today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their final wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear that you love them very much and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Well, God willing, I'll be with you guys on Monday. Have a safe, hopefully a fun weekend. Lots to do. Marketplace at Steamtown tomorrow. Chili contest, all kinds of action in that center court second floor. Check that out in the morning. And so much more to do elsewhere. If you're insane, go to a No Kings protest. To prove your insanity, feel free. But for now, I apologize. One final mention of our veterans brought to you by John Basiliga. Victor Baidaganata, Dunmore. Lieutenant Colonel John Farrell, Carbondale. James Tribbett, Pittston. Edward Joyce, Laughlin. Edwin Chase, Tunkhannock. Charles Collarini, Oliphant. God bless them all. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Sue Henry show next. Rob O'Donnell show after that. My favorite newsman, Rob. We'll take it off for now, but we've got to conclude this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Meeting adjourned.